Welcome back to Burning the Pages, the series where I make fun of fanfiction I wrote as a teenager. And boy, do we have a lot to work with in this episode, because this episode of Elite Senshi is a three-parter. It's way too long to cover in one episode, so the second half of the episode will be covered in another video. Despite how awful Elite Senshi is, this episode opens up beautifully. Awkward, but beautiful.
So much for fighting evil by moonlight.
The alarm noise always bothered Karu. She slowly picked up her hand to turn it off. It was 6:30. Karu got out of bed and had a quick shower. She usually had quiet showers. No music, no singing. She got out after 5 minutes and brushed her teeth. After her morning hygiene was taken care of, she had her breakfast. Every day she would have black tea, toast, and scrambled eggs. She ate in silence. Her parents were almost never home. They are usually home 4 hours a week due to business trips and work. She didn't care. She liked the silence.
Wow, it seems that this episode has more budget for vocabulary. I wish the other episodes of Elite Senshi were like this. I feel like I can actually see this scene happening within my mind's eye. I mean, the sentences are a bit tacky, but when it comes to descriptions, this gets an A. Good job, younger me.
However, she wasn't alone. Miku was her magical talking cat that transformed into a human. Miku was Karu's partner in fighting crime. Karu was the static beauty who fought evil along with Miku. Her other title was the Green Goddess, but no one really called her that except for Rubia's henchman and Miku.
This part really isn't necessary as it contrasts from the first paragraph. The first one is nicely paced, and this one tells me what's important, when it should be showing me.
And now it's time to play How Would You Fix This Scene? With your host, the Edgelordess.
Honestly, Miku does very little to enhance the plot. Unlike Toji, who the audience has seen more often. Out of the 14 episodes I wrote, Miku has a total of 3 lines of dialogue. If I were to rewrite the scene, honestly, I'd just cut Miku out of the picture and move on.
Gasp! But how would the Green Goddess awaken her powers?
Don't stress, I got this under control. Karu has awakened her powers several years before the start of the story. Except unlike Kira, Karu had to learn how to use her powers on her own. She had awoken her powers by accident. Before this discovery, she was an ordinary kid. Until one day, she murdered her parents because of an argument they were having. And this is when Karu realizes she has powers. Shortly after this occurrence, she becomes a foster child and spends the rest of her days as an emo kid. Now, in Elite Senshi, Karu doesn't really have a backstory. I mean, she does, I did create a bio for her, but her backstory doesn't really do anything to enhance her character. I'll summarize. A few years before Elite Senshi, Karu was living in Russia. Her parents were doctors, evil comes in to ruin her life just cuz, and Karu awakens her powers. Writing backstories is very difficult, as you don't want to be too cliche. My way of writing backstories is by interviewing people. You can interview your mom, your dad, significant other, your teacher, anyone. This way you can come up with a realistic narrative. Ask these people what their life was like growing up, and you'll get different stories. Though, just a fair warning, if you do want to create a character with a good, depressing backstory, you need it to be relevant to the plot. Don't add it for the sake of being edgy. My revised version of Karu is actually based off a friend I met in rehab back in 2017. Karu in Elite Senshi is a weirdly copy and pasted version of Sailor Venus from the Sailor Moon live-action series.
Wow, Edgelordess, what an interesting revision.
You think so? Did I win anything useful, like a getaway trip, gift certificate, a car?
Nope, just more of this story!
This game show is really weird. Anyway, let's move on. We have a lot of story to cover.
Karu put on her school uniform. She wore a blue and white sailor suit with a red ribbon. She wore long white rugby socks with blue stripes and white sneakers.
And here is where the story starts stumbling. When describing fashion in a story, make sure that you're doing more than just stating what the character is wearing. Instead, emphasize how the character is wearing the outfit. For example, maybe her shirt has a few ketchup stains on it because she forgot to do laundry last week. Or let's say that she's frantically tying her necktie while keeping her eye on the time so she doesn't miss the bus. This way your readers are invested and not bored. Speaking of boring, the pacing of Karu's morning routine starts getting really wordy and the whole sequence goes on for another 5 paragraphs. Adjectives are nice, but you don't want to be too wordy. So really, I'm just doing you a favor by skipping all over this shit. You're welcome.
Crap, I forgot lunch. I'm using my back. What did Sam? We're gonna
Meanwhile, at school, there's something called Friendship Day, which actually involves stalking fellow classmates as research. I am not making this shit up.
In Tokyo Heights Friendship Week, a student must shadow their partner, meaning follow them for at least 24 hours. However, they must check in at the attendance office to clarify the shadow dates.
24 hours, huh? That sounds a bit intense. Like, let's say, within that time frame, someone needs to take a dump. Or maybe they want to have sex with somebody. Does their partner have to sit and watch and take notes? Ew! So, the way this project works is students are assigned to each other at random, meaning anyone from the 1st to 12th grade can be someone's partner. And Kira has an assigned partner, Karu. But first, an uncomfortable scene in drama class, because this was really important.
And although he's generally accepted as the greatest playwright of all time, we actually
By
don't
the end
know
of the
that
3rd
much
period,
about William Shakespeare
Kira was
to us.
doodling pictures of
There's a lot
her
that we
and
don't know,
Arata
considering
Kazumi.
how he looks, really what his sexuality was, what his religious belief is, how many
Her
times he
favorite pop
cheated on
star
the
ever
peculiarly
in
named
drama
Anne
class.
Hathaway that he was married to. All of this are things that we don't know about the man who
It
wrote
wasn't
so
an
much on
ordinary
paper,
drama
but it was
class.
because so very little was written about him in return. Aside from being accepted as the most talented,
You learned about the
playwright
history
all
of
time,
theater.
William Shakespeare is also maybe the most proficient at it, as throughout his years of writing, he
And
released
performed
almost
famous
40
plays in
along
front
with
of the
hundreds
class.
of other poems. This is a volume that most others cannot hope to match throughout several lifetimes of work. Yet Shakespeare did this all while dying early at the age of 52.
When did this story become second-person POV? Am I an elite senshi? Because if I am, I'd use my powers to kill the others. Because they're all so annoying. Especially Chi.
The teacher, Mr. Kin, was talking about the famous play Romeo and Juliet. The class had to take notes. Kira wasn't listening. She's still focused on her drawing on Arata.
Kira, you should be listening and not doodling.
He took her sketchpad from her and looked at the drawing. It was detailed.
What is this?
It's, me and Arata Kazumi?
Ugh, him again? You know he is gay!
Okay, this got uncomfortable really quickly. So this requires a biography of who I was back in high school. So, in my freshman year, for some reason, I was only attracted to gay celebrities or characters in TV shows that I watched. Examples being Kurt from Glee, Andrew Johnston and Trevor Boris from Video on Trial, and Adam Lambert, which is who Arata Kazumi is based off of. And it's one thing to have a celebrity crush despite one's own sexual orientation, but it's another thing to be homophobic, because most of my stories at the time that had LGBT characters fell into 2 categories. Either they were sexually deviant, or secretly straight the whole time. So, let's say you're a teenage girl and you have a thing for gay dudes. More power to you, just keep those sorts of stories to yourself as you don't want to give off the wrong impression. Anyway, this drawing of Arata makes Kira's teacher pissed.
Anyway, that's not the point. This drawing is inappropriate on school campus. You could be expelled!
It's not that detailed.
Kira, this is a few steps away from being hentai. Please get rid of it.
Fine.
Kira groaned and ripped it out of her sketchbook and threw her possession away.
What's my punishment?
You'll have a playwriting assignment, and you must have at least 5 pages in pre-format in front of the class on Tuesday.
She hated playwriting assignments since hers were overly dramatic and really disturbing to some people, not to mention poorly written.
Well, at least the narrator's somewhat self-aware. Anyway, the next scene is lunchtime where Kira and Kaoru finally meet.
She sat next to Kaoru, who looked up at her.
My name is Kira. You must be Kaoru.
I'm Kaoru. It's nice to meet you.
I'm a Scorpio, you're of the pig.
Kira was talking about something.
My love for Arata Kazumi. Oh my god, we are
Kaoru
going to
wasn't
be best
listening.
friends. Oh, there's
Instead,
also this one time. My neighbor
she
has
had
this
something
cat
on her
that I
mind.
Really like, but for some
Could
reason
she
the
be
cat
the
doesn't really like me that
princess?
much. But if I bring him
It
inside, he
can't
scratches
be.
me, but I like to cuddle him because that just means he loves me.
Why would
we
she
can
go
shopping
here?
And go to the beach. Or we can
She
get
should be on
tattoos,
Hearts.
Maybe play some Mario Kart.
Why would Kaoru think Kira is the Princess of Hearts? Okay, yes, I know in episode 1 it's mentioned that the Princess of Hearts is named Kira. But what if? Just hear me out. What if? This is all just a weird coincidence.
We should talk about our schedules. Maybe I should start shadowing you tomorrow, because I don't want to run a mile in PE tomorrow.
I don't think it's a good idea. Maybe I should shadow you. I have nothing going on.
But I hate running! I lose my breath and I feel sick later!
Sorry, tests and running miles are very important.
Is Kaoru Kira's mom? What teenager acts like this? Anyway, the next 4 paragraphs of this line of dialogue is extremely boring and irrelevant to the story, as there's plot points that are stated, but are never followed up on. Oh yeah, and there's a mention of Satomi not showing up to class, which makes Kira worried, and this is sorta important. You'll see why in the next scene.
You have 20 minutes to run a mile, and go!
Whoa, wait. 20 minutes? All I got was 10 minutes to run a mile when I was in high school. This school is weird.
Everyone started running. Kira lagged behind everyone.
Come on, you can go faster than that.
Kira ran faster. After 5 minutes, Kira was way behind her class. She stopped at a bush. She felt something wrong.
What's wrong?
I sensed something.
Kira walked closer to the bush. The bush was fine, but she still sensed something. It was coming from the tree nearby. Then she saw it. Satomi and a few students were stuck to the tree. They were groaning.
How does one get stuck to a tree? Was the tree trunk just really sticky and all these people just decided to touch this tree because like there was like some drug laced into the trunk? You guys won't believe me when I say this, but there are tentacles.
The trunk grew vines that went toward the 2 girls.
Move!
They successfully dodged!
Orange goddess power, make up!
She transformed into the Orange Goddess. Kira forgot about what Toji told her. If she transforms into a normal human, she could lose her powers forever.
What? When did Toji say this? If that's the case, are the elite Senshi allowed to be seen by the public? If so, explain the previous episode where Kira announces the Senshi's identity to a large audience. My god, this story is stupid and inconsistent.
She isn't the princess. She's a senshi. Large water ball.
A back ball of water filled in her hands and threw the ball at the tree. The tree pushed her off. She fell to the ground, bleeding.
Damn. Was this battle taking place on a bed of thorns? Why would Kira start bleeding?
A woman formed from the tree and she giggled. Kira slowly got up and tried the attack again. The woman grabbed Kira's arm and hung her that way.
Your energy is mine. Say sayonara to your friend. Yum. Human flesh.
First we have Kira drawing porn in class. Then we have tentacles. And now this. This story isn't even trying to be subtle anymore. In fact, this has to be the horniest. No, wait. Thorniest episode. Got it? Because she's a tree lady. Anyway, it looks like all hope is lost for Kira.
Kira-chan!
Static Beauty! Make up!
Karu transformed. Her button-down shirt transformed into a midriff white blouse with a green scarf and a bright green bow. Her long skirt turned into a short green skirt. A green mask appeared on her eyes. She wore a black cape and wore short black boots.
Nice job plagiarizing yourself, Little Edge. This was ripped off from episode 1's transformation, just with the colors changed. Don't think I noticed? I did. So there's another awkward fight scene, and while in the middle of this fight, Kira sparks conversation with Karu.
You're the Static Beauty? I don't understand. I never sensed you were a Senshi. There are more of us. Please join us.
I'm sorry. I'm looking for the Princess of Hearts. I can't join anything.
Hey guys, now's not a good idea to talk about team formation. You still have a monster standing right there in front of you where she can...
Then tree trunks wrap around the two, sending both attacks at them.
Called it! But then Megumi, Chi, and Junko show up. Hey, wasn't it mentioned in episode 1 that Junko and Chi live an hour and a half away from the other Senshi? How the hell did they make it to the scene so fast? Maybe they teleported using Heart's technology or something. Also, how did they know that the other Senshi were there? Ugh, just another plot convenience. Beautiful romance!
A familiar voice said.
Huh?
Blue Eye Star! Purple Starlight! Flash!
The woman growled and she found 3 more Senshi.
Let go of the innocent people and our friends. I'm the Blue Goddess, Senshi of Ice, and I will punish you.
For your evil actions!
We'll make you pay.
This speech is weird. I mean, all the speeches Little Edge wrote were really dumb, but this one gets the award for the dumbest one. Junko and Megumi don't even introduce themselves like Chi does, and 2, Megumi doesn't even have a verse because there's just too many characters in this scene. The point of view shifts back to Kira and Karu, who are entangled with vines, where they perform a Deus Ex Machina.
I think I can break us out of here.
How?
Put your hands in mine.
Karu commanded. Kira comprehended.
Now, focus on getting us out of here.
Kira thought hard, and the tree trunk snapped.
No, just no. Deus Ex Machinas are what authors use when characters are stuck in a situation that seems unsolvable. There are events that happen batshit out of nowhere and are never mentioned again. Unless you want to be a lazy writer, don't use this trope. Instead, there's 2 ways to fix them. Either you foreshadow this, or you make this story meta. In other words, you make your characters self-aware that they're characters in a story and have them acknowledge that this occurrence happened.
Go heal your friends while you still can.
Why? We are standing right here. We are fine. We aren't hurt or anything.
You're not, but I am, you dumb broad.
I meant the students who were touching the sticky tree and were violated by tentacles. Like Satomi.
Help.
Oh, then why didn't you say so?
I thought I was forgotten for this entire episode.
I'm just following the script here. Now, Kira, do your magic. Your obviously plagiarized magic.
Thanks, girl I never met, for acknowledging my existence.
Okay. Girls, let me handle this.
she said, and pulled out her magic wand.
Orange healing magic!
Orange light streamed out of her wand.
And Toji shows up from God knows where, because why not pull a second Deus Ex Machina while we're at it?
Elite Senshi!
He threw wands that kinda looked like Kira's wand at them, but different colors.
Take these and help Kira!
Why? She's fine. She can do this all by herself like a big senshi. She had no problem in the last episode.
But she'll die!
How?
I don't know! I'm just going by what the script is telling me to say!
Whatever. Please, continue.
Oh, I see you found the green goddess.
Then a green wand formed into sand. He told Karu as he threw the wand at her. She got it!
Wait! You're the green goddess? I thought you were Static Beauty! I go by both names. I'll explain everything later. We need to help Kira.
So the other four senshi help Kira fight with this super cool group attack that I've been dying to animate since episode 0.
Green.
She called as she activated her wand.
Blue.
Purple! Pink!
Rainbow healing magic!
They all yelled. The tree lady died. And all the students that were locked in the tree were slowly getting up.
Quick, transform back to your normal selves!
Why?
I don't know. This story doesn't make any sense!
Okay.
Now that the Static Beauty, aka the Green Goddess, has been found, the 6 senshi can join forces, right? Right?
So, you're the green goddess. How come you cannot join us?
Megumi, Karu, Satomi, and Kira sat at Karu's favorite spot during lunch that day.
My mission is to protect the princess. I refuse to work with partners.
Why not? We are looking for her too.
Before we died in our past lives, I was her main protector. She was the one who gave me the mission herself, and not some guardian.
Bitch, Diaspora sent the 6 of you to look for the princess. Well, 5, since Kira is the princess. Don't think you're so special. I feel like this character belongs in a separate series because she's going by a totally different script.
She seems like a real pain.
And for once, I agree with Satomi. And that scene ends and conflict is suddenly resolved because in the next scene, Karu's staying at Kira's place and so they have that weird stalker assignment for class.
Karu followed Kira home that day. She had left her overnight stuff at Kira's house before she went to school. They didn't live too far away from each other.
I hope you don't mind sleeping on the couch.
I don't mind.
Toji, Nobuo Toto, I'm here!
Hi, Kira Ane! Hi, stranger!
Audience, this is Nabu. He's Kira's little brother. Not much known about him other than he's 9 years old. He appeared in previous episodes of Elite Senshi before, but I skipped over him as he serves nothing to the plot, and I'm gonna let you in on a little secret as a director. Finding voice actors is kind of hard.
My name is Kaoru. You're cute. How old are you?
9?
Karu will be staying the night with us.
How come?
It's part of our school's tradition that on the month of April, you must make a new friend. And for one day, they must spend the night at their house.
End of that scene, there's no mention about the kerfuffle that Karu had with the other Elite Senshi because now we're on Grimm. Just 'cause.
Queen Rubia, it seems that my plan has failed. My Nechia Akuma has failed.
Ooh, little Edge adding some random Japanese words because that makes the story more authentic. But reality check, it's really tacky.
This is the 5th time this week. Are you sure you can collect all rainbow gems?
We have 3. And I know the Senshi have 3. but I think I know who has the last.
Really? Who?
His name is Deidara. We know him as the Ninja of the Night.
How did he know that? Was he also doing that weird stalking assignment like Kira and Karu had to do? And for the viewers at home, yes, Deidara is the tuxedo mask of the series. His alter ego only appeared in episode 1, but I skipped over it as I didn't feel it was necessary to cover. He isn't even seen for another few episodes as younger me had no idea what to do with him.
Oh yeah, him.
Rubia said. She wasn't really listening to Yoro anymore, since he kept failing missions. Rubia originally had 6 henchmen, but 2 were already dead. Yoro hoped to succeed this time.
Wait. 6? Okay, there was Coley, and I think there was 2 extra villains from episode 1. I think their names were Ebios and Usha. What happened to them?
I don't know.
And what about me? Was I the one who died off screen? I sure hope not. I was such a likable character.
There.
At least you were in 2 episodes. I only had 1 fucking line. Or ain't that fucking nice to give you all the fucking screen time you want?
But I died.
Oh, cry me a fucking river, you little pussy. Jesus Christ. It's a wonder they gave you all the fucking lines. You're being such a little bitch right now, Jesus Christ. Oh, I swear to God, you better hope they never bring my ass back because I will fucking massacre you.
If you're working with a large cast of characters, make sure that your characters have something to do. They don't have to have their own arc, but at least have them contribute to the story in some way. For example, let's look at Buffy. It has a huge cast, and all the Scoobies have a role. There's the 4 original Scoobies, which consist of Buffy, the heroine who slays vampires, her mentor Giles, Xander, the comedy relief and Damon Distress, and Willow helps Buffy from the sidelines. Then you have characters like Oz, Spike, Dawn, Anya, Tara, and Faith, and they all have their own roles as well. All of them have something to do, and they're still memorable, including Anya being a complete bitch. In Elite Senshi, there are too many characters, and the story has no idea what to do with them. And if you think that's bad, wait until we get to the first movie review, where I can't even tell you who's talking anymore. Anyway, we still have another 2,000 words to go. The story is way too long to cover in 1 episode, so the second half of the story will be covered in part 2. See you next time.